I've been following this market for a very long time, and the internal challenges typically come up as the major roadblock for many of us, and I have done for years, whether it's around server consolidation, storage consolidation, data center consolidation, or migrating to the cloud as we are now. Really being able to demonstrate the so what from a business point of view is obviously more important than ever to make sure that we can get some of these initiatives over the line effectively. So just a quick sort of fact check for you. We asked you how many public clouds you're currently dealing with within your organization. And when we talk about public cloud, it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service specifically. And what you can see here is that 18%, almost 1 in 5 of you, are grappling with more, I won't say managing, I'm saying grappling with more than 5 public cloud environments. The environments we're trying to manage, I think, are getting increasingly complex in nature. And you see 76% are managing 1 to 5 public clouds specifically. And what we see from that is I think there's a real increased focus on how we can work with vendors particularly to help us manage them more efficiently, more effectively, getting a clearer line of sight across our cloud environments. Because ultimately, we risk, I think, moving forward, when I show you some slides a bit later on, ending up in a situation as we are now, or we were in the past, server sprawl, data center sprawl. We're heading towards cloud sprawl, right? If we're not careful, not being able to really keep a clear handle on those particular environments for us. So we also saw 9% of you said you're going to move workloads back from the public cloud in 2021. And it's an interesting number because we asked that question way back when, in last March, we did a survey of about 220 organizations as the pandemic really took hold. And we saw that 89% of respondents said they would increase workloads in the cloud because of the pandemic specifically. And 50% said they would increase workloads by greater than sort of 40% as well. So this massive move to the cloud to keep us running during the pandemic. And at the same time, we then saw a much bigger expectation. The number was around about 20% said they expected afterwards to then transition workloads back from the public cloud. So I think what we're seeing here now is that as we've migrated a lot of these workloads very reactively to the cloud last year, we're not necessarily in the same sort of rush to pull them back in-house. Some, yes, but not as many as we saw earlier last year. So at that point, ADAPT, as Jim mentioned, we survey attendees and delegates at every one of the EDGE events we have. And for the last 3 years, we've been asking a very similar set of questions around cloud expectations from a migration point of view to really develop and deliver the country's, I think, most comprehensive and accurate view of where cloud is today. So this gives you sort of a comparison between 2019, 2020, and 2021 data center events, CCDC events, and then those forecasts in 2021 relating to 2019, 2022 relating to 2020, and so on. But anyway, what we can see here right now, you told us that about 28% of your workloads today are in the public cloud, one form or another, and about 41% still in-house in the data centers. So quite a considerable shift, really. If you look back to 2019, so 23% to 28%, that's quite a big jump. But then if we fast forward 2 years from now, you've told us you expect about 46% of your workloads are expected to be in the public cloud in 2023. So really accelerated sort of level of migration to the cloud. What I would say is what we typically find with these forecasts is that they're normally coming a little bit lower when we actually get to that level. But what we can see here is that there's no doubt about it that the move to the public cloud is accelerating for many of you. But at the same time, if you look at the hybrid cloud number there, we expect to go from 6% today in 2021 up to 11% in 2023. So those hybrid multi-cloud environments are going to become, I think, obviously an increasing normal phenomenon within many of our organizations. But as we think about that, we then need to consider, okay, so what are some of the challenges? What are the challenges we continue to face as we look at this continued move towards cloud-based environments? So we asked you what your significant challenges were when migrating to the cloud. And it's interesting, legacy systems and processes kind of goes back, or applications rather, kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier on. How do we manage what we've already got effectively in the cloud environment? How do we identify which parts of legacy, as we call it, should actually be ripe or we should be moving to the cloud? Cost continues to be a major issue for most of you, both in terms of the initial costs of moving to the cloud, but then the ongoing costs associated with managing those cloud-based environments. Now, just to compare and contrast that with your CIO colleagues from about 3 weeks ago, costs had actually dropped down on their radar in terms of being so much of a challenge in migrating to the cloud. Still an issue for them, but we actually saw a significant percentage drop in terms of how much of a challenge it was. What I would say here is it's obviously very much incumbent, I think, on your cloud vendors to help you make sure that you are getting those clearer line of sights to cost. The market, particularly from public cloud environment, is more competitive than ever, okay? Obviously, we've got AWS, we've got Azure, we've got GCP kind of nipping at the heels, trying to get a bigger footprint in the country. So the environment for yourselves, for the buyers, is really ripe in terms of competitive procurement. So to make sure that you're getting what you want from the vendors, and then you see others like, obviously, IBM, Oracle, Macquarie Cloud Services, a number of these others coming through as well. So as more players come to market, as more players really put greater attention on the local marketplace, that's an opportunity for all of you to get a much better deal and really work much more effectively to meet the expectations that you have. We also, data security is quite high there as well. I talked earlier on about creating a trusted and secure organization. Obviously, as we move to the cloud, we're really focused on making sure we're maintaining the security of our data across multiple and disparate cloud environments. And all of this very much is underpinned by trust to make sure that our customers can trust what we're doing with their data, our employees can trust what we're doing with their data, and really being able to demonstrate that we're doing that effectively, and then particularly coming back to sort of those compliance and governance areas which I spoke about earlier on as well. So that's kind of the key things there I wanted to just touch on that particular one.